And welcome back to the Surrey Hill Smokers Lockdown Specials, and today we have a special new recruit. This is William, my son. Say hello to the people, William.
Hello.
So today we're going to be making an Italian meatball pasta dish. It's not a traditional barbecue dish, but why not? Let's try and do it on the barbecue over some coals. So stay tuned and enjoy the show. Right, let's get down to these meatball recipes. It's very simple. Again, it's just a homemade recipe. If you want to follow some official recipe, that's absolutely fine, but this is what we do and it works really well. So I've got 600 grams of the finest steak beef minced here. It's about 5% fat. We don't want too much fat in it. If you want to, you can obviously, but this is from the guys at Beacon Hill Butchers again. So big shout out and thanks to them for supplying us with the meat and looking after us in these lockdown situations. It's a bit of a strange time and always good to support local. So, into this mince, William, this is where you come in. You need to be able to help me now. We need half a teaspoon of garlic granules, please. Come over a wee bit. There we go. So half a teaspoon of that, just throw it in. Good boy. Cool. Now we're going to need a teaspoon of oregano. It's the big one, there you go. Cool. Shall I pour it in for you? Let's pour that in. Doesn't matter if you go a little bit over. Again, these are not scientific recipes. They're just a nice thing to do. Right, we'll have some thyme in there as well. So we'll have another teaspoon of thyme. There we go. Throw that in there. If you don't have individual oregano and thyme, you can use the pre-mixed Italian type seasoning. That's really good. Here we're going to go with some black pepper. So we'll have half a teaspoon of that, please, mate. Yeah, cool. Get that in there, and we'll have the same of salt, please. Do you want to stick it in there and get a half teaspoon out? Cool, cool. Just sprinkle it over the top. There we go, lovely. And here's for the magic. We need a quarter teaspoon of ground cinnamon powder. Sounds a bit strange, I know, but actually adds a really unique flavour to it and lifts it up a little bit. So let's get a quarter teaspoon, please. No, quarter. That's a half. This will be the smaller one. Next one. Is that quarter? There we go. You can just sprinkle that over the top, please. Oh, there we go. Sprinkle it over the top. And then the final one, I've got some Costco or Kirkland own brand chopped dried onions. These are quite nice. They soften up once they get in the meat. Can we get a full spoon of these, tablespoon of these, the big one then? That's it. And sprinkle that all over the top. Lovely. Alright, I'll do the mixing because I know you don't like getting your hands dirty, do you? So hands are all clean, we've mixed this. Typical fashion for me. Put my hands in there, give it a good mix. We're going to get those ingredients through the mince and then we'll start breaking it down into making the meatballs individually. So there we go, we've mixed all those ingredients in. Now the meat's beautifully seasoned with all those lovely flavours. And now all we need to do is break it into sort of like 50 gram balls really, so we're going to get quite a few out of this lump of mince. So we've got the chopping board here. Let's get that tray bowl out of the way. We just want to roughly break them up into meatball sizes. You can make them as big as you like, it really doesn't matter. So we're just going to break them up, roll them up.
Big as you like and small as
you can, William, yeah, you can have them as big as you like. I'd like to also add out to the viewers out there, William is only 6. And he absolutely loves helping in the kitchen and cooking. He absolutely loves barbecue, so he's a true Surrey Hill smoker.
And I like ribs.
Oh, you do like ribs, don't you? Yeah, exactly. So we'll just break these up, and then we've got our meatballs. So they're a bit varied in size, it doesn't really matter. Just do the best you can. Never the thing of measuring stuff here with Surrey Hill Smokers. Just go with the flow. So here we go. There's our 9th meatball made out of that beautiful mince there with all that seasoning in. We're going to be cooking this over Big K applewood charcoal, mainly because it's only a quick cook and we need some real heat, and that's what we get from that applewood charcoal. I've got my skillet already heating on there, and let's bring you over and you can have a look at us cook those off. So we've got the skillet on the grill, it's over those coals, it's beautifully hot. I know it's hot because I can just see the oil and it's smoking away slightly there. We've given it a drizzle of some lovely, decent quality olive oil. You don't have to use olive oil, but we prefer that in this household. So William's also going to help with this one, but I'm going to get the majority of these on. And we're just going to sear them off in the skillet. We're not going to cook these through all the way in the skillet. We just want to sear them off, get that flavour into the outskirt, out of the side of the meat, and then once we take them off, and then we'll make the sauce and put them in, and then let them simmer and fully cook off in that sauce. So let's get them into the pan. We know that's hot because we can hear them sizzling, can't we, Will?
Yeah,
Right,
can I do them with the tongs?
You can do one with the tongs. Yes, grab the tongs. There you go. Why don't you put those last three in there? You might want to stand up, just don't squeeze them too much. Beautiful. Oh, don't just drop them in. There you go. Be careful because we don't want to lose a meatball, do we? Perfect. Right. Lovely. So that's the lovely. So that's the meatballs into the pan. We're just going to let them sizzle away for a little bit. Do be careful if you've got young kids around you because it does spit a little bit, obviously with the oil in there. But we just want to get some real beautiful colour onto those meatballs. So now we've seared those meatballs off, they've got some flavour, they're not, as I said, not fully cooked through. It's now down to making that sauce, so we need a good quality passata, probably half a bottle here. This churro comes in, what is it, 680 grams, so about probably half that bottle we're going to use. My secret recipe, I always throw in ketchup, the cheaper the better actually. It adds a richness and sort of sweetness to the sauce that you don't normally get. We've got a good quality tin of chopped tomatoes, we've got some more oregano, a bit of black pepper, and some salt, and we have a single onion, white onion, red onion, whatever you prefer, finely sliced, which we're going to fry off, and 2 cloves of garlic, which I've diced finely here. So first of all, we need to get the onions frying and the garlic frying off. So let's get that into the pot. Get them frying off. The pan should be lovely and hot. We don't want it too hot because it will burn them, but we'll get those onions in there just to soften them off a little bit. As I say, they're beautifully finely sliced. We've got a mandolin which works really, really well. The other beauty thing as well, these onions are going to fry off in all of those beautiful juices from the mince where we've seared those. We don't want to waste any of that because it's all about flavour. We also don't want to add the garlic too soon because if we do, there's a risk that it could burn and it can get a bit bitter if it burns. So we're just going to let those onions soften up and then we'll throw the garlic in. Right, those onions have softened up. Now it's time to just get that chopped garlic in there and give it a stir, and then we can start getting some of the other ingredients in.
Yes.
So let's get the other ingredients in. So we're going to get that passata in. We're going to put about half the bottle, as I said. It's not really too accurate as long as you get a good base of tomato in there. Bear in mind we've got a tin of chopped tomatoes here. There's some beautiful Italian ones that I've got. They've got some real flavour and they're just as good to eat on their own actually. Get those in the pot. Get that sizzling. Put that in. Give it a good squirt of ketchup. It did, didn't it? It made a farty sound. Give it a stir. And we'll start to see that magic happening in there. The onions are starting to soften up beautifully. The tomatoes and all those ingredients mixing together. So now it's time to get those dry ingredients in. My able assistant William here is going to help us with this. So we want a teaspoon of oregano, please, and just put it in the plate there, buddy. That'll do. Doesn't matter if you're a little bit over. Perfect. And we want half a teaspoon of black pepper, please. Yep. Chuck that in there. And the same as salt, really. Don't want to go too crazy with the salt because there's some salt coming out of that ketchup. So just put one of those in there. Good lad. And chuck that in. Oh, we'll scrape those in. And stir them in.
Is that the
We want to let that heat through for a little bit just before we start putting the meatballs in, but we're almost there and we're getting there with a beautiful base for that sauce. So now that we've got all of the sauce ingredients into the pan, it's bubbling away nicely, it's simmering away beautifully, it's time to get those meatballs back in. So let's get those in. Doesn't matter where you put them in, just put them in, make sure they're nicely covered by the sauce because we want that heat from that sauce to transfer into the meat. Remember, they're going to cook through fully now, and then they'll be beautiful, tender and lovely. If you need to turn them over, just rotate them around in that sauce and get it in there. So it's been about half an hour. I've moved I checked it, and I actually moved the skillet off of the coals directly because it was getting a bit hot and a bit bubbly, and it was reducing the sauce down a little too much. So move it indirect, just chills it out, still gets that heat to keep cooking, but it was looking amazing 15 minutes ago. Let's get it off and let's get it served up. Now obviously, skillet roasting hot, that's why we have a silicone handle for it, or use a good pair of oven gloves, but do be very, very careful. The table here is fine. I don't need to trivet really on it because it's a solid piece of stone that Gavin had got, but this looks amazing. Let me do a close-up video, bring you in closer and you can have a look. So let's get that served up and you can see the finished article. Obviously I haven't filmed boiling the pasta because that's a pretty boring thing and we didn't do it up here in the smoke shack. I did it in the kitchen on the hob. But let's get one served up. So these meatballs are actually quite sizable, so we don't really want to have more than, I'm going to have 3 because I'm a bit of a greedy so-and-so. But let's get some of that beautiful tomato sauce ladled over the top. There we go, let's get this into the bowl. We'll be very careful of this hot pan, but if you want to pick the meatballs up, put them into this bowl for me, and away we go. We can get down to the house and eat with Mummy.
All of them?
Yes please, all of them, little friend. Let's get those over to the other side. I'll spoon the sauce in. So we can get those into the pan, out the pan and into the bowl, that'd be great. Lovely. Don't drop any because Mummy won't be happy if you drop hers. Cool. And there we go. Italian style meatballs over pasta. Really quick and easy to do. Do it over coal. Give it a little bit of extra flavour. Give it that fun. Bring your kids out. As you can see, William's here, only 6-year-olds, and absolutely loves helping up in the smoke shack. Anyway, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button because we're doing loads more content over the next coming weeks. But once again, thanks for watching and see you again soon.